Hello, welcome back. And so where we left off in the last class is that we learned how to add elements, and we learned about elements and how to add images. And this is where we got to, and we said that we were going to continue in the next class and learn a trick and how to make these images go up to the top right corner, just like these over here. And we're going to learn that trick right now, but first we're going to learn a little bit about attributes. What an attribute is, if we go over to our text editor where we have our code, I'm just going to increase the size here, okay, so you can see better. Alright, so what an attribute is adding information to the element so that you can tell the browser even more about what you want it to do with this information. So for example, we have this HTML document here, and we told them that this is an HTML document by adding this attribute right here in the doc type element. But what we can add more here is a simple attribute that will tell the browser that this document is in the English language. So we can add an attribute called lan equals, and we can open the quotes, and this is how you input a attribute. So you have the name of the attribute, or the name, and then an equal sign, and then quotes, and you put in the value of that attribute inside the quotes. So it would be English, and you can say you want it English US. And that's how you do your attributes so that you can add information to elements. So if we come down here, we want these images to be a little smaller so it can look like what we have in the original project. So what we can do is add a couple attributes to this to the image elements, and what we can add is the width and height. So we can put in width equals quote quote, and I'm gonna put in 50 here. We can fix it later and make it to the size that we want, but this is just for demonstration. So width and then height equals quote quote, and we can put 50 as well. And so instead of putting it in every single one, we'll just copy and then paste it. Alright. And so now we're ready to add another attribute that you need when you have an image element, which is the alt. And alt is what would show up if the image happens to not work. So if you put the path to that image and it wasn't where it was supposed to be, this attribute will tell the browser what to put instead of the image if it doesn't show up. So we can put alternative as anything, like, so the name of this image is notes, so we can say, which is notification. So we can just say this is supposed to be notifications, so we can just put in it to be notifications. So once we have all the alternative attributes inside the image elements, and usually it's important to add alternative attributes, and it's always good to do the width and height to your image so it just doesn't put it in any width or height it wants and then mess up your website. So once we have those all set, we can go over and take a look. So go over to the browser and reset, and see, just like that, we have them all nicely put into proper size where we can make them a little bit smaller so they match the ones in the original project. And now we're going to look at how we're going to put them on the side here and what the trick is. is using the table element. And basically what a table element is, and if we come down here and I'll demonstrate what it is the element starts with a table, and it looks like this basically. And slash table. And how this will make it is so that we can bring the elements to the side in 2 columns, so it looks like they're put in style on both sides of the website. But originally you would do it with CSS, but just because this course is only on HTML, and so we can get proficient in the HTML structure, we're going to be using only HTML so you can learn and implement these different elements. So the table element, you would have a table row. So each row would have inside it table data, and that table data will be going to the side. So anything inside a row is going to go to the side, and then anything, so each row is going to go underneath. So if you have only one row, it's only going to look like a triangle, a rectangle, a long rectangle. So if we put some elements in the first table data in the row and the other elements in the second table data in the row, you're gonna see the shape that we want. So if we go in here, and like I said, we're gonna create table data, and table data goes as a row element. So it's a sub row element, and what we're gonna put in here is the time element, so the P element, so it can be on that side. So we copy paste that in there, and then we can add another table data. And I'm just gonna copy paste this because we're gonna add a few more, I think. And so we're gonna add the notification because that's gonna go right next to it. Copy paste that into here. All right, and then the rest can go into this table data right here. So after the notification, everything else can go in here. Paste that in there, and now we have our table, and it should look like it's in a straight line when we go back out. So first we're going to copy this, cut it into our body element here. Paste that in there. So we have our table ready to go. And now if we go back to the browser and we click refresh, we see it brings it in a straight line. So how do we bring it to the side? So how do we separate it? So now we have it in the table. How we separate it is going to be in the next tutorial, and I'll see you guys there. Until then, watch the previous tutorials if you haven't already, so you can stay up to date. So long.